speaking of support players, we've got Emilzy standing by for an interview from the Pittsburgh Knights.
I have Emilzy here, support for the Knights. We all know and love them. First thing I want to ask, y'all have to wait to the end of the day. I've been asking about this all week. Do you think it hurts or helps that you get to watch all the other matches? You kind of got to wait the whole day till you play?
I mean, I think for our team, it's a big benefit. It's not really about watching the matches. It's just more so we have a few people on the team that likes to sleep in, you know, going to bed at 6 a.m. So playing around Tier 4, that's when they usually wake up. So I think we're going to peak today. It's a good time to play.
Well, good time to play then. There's been a lot of different stuff played so far at MSI than what we saw in the SPL. Do you think that's just teams have different play styles, or do you think the meta's really made some big shifts?
Well, I think the current meta allows for a lot of different picks to be viable, and there's a lot of different starts you can do, and you can play a lot of different play styles. We're definitely in a good spot right now with Smite. But yeah, I mean, I think it's also just the different teams, right? You have different play styles. You have a team like Dick, maybe they want to play a bit more around Hurricane, just free casting or whatever, or like throwing down an ult and dying, and then your other teams that just want to like dive in, like we saw Armada do early on, so yeah.
Well, you all are playing, now you know it's Dignitas, the ones that beat Simplicity. Were you all maybe rooting for Simplicity or even expecting them after Armada won, or were you pretty sure it would be Dig coming out?
I mean, I kind of expected Dig to win, but also like Emilito lost, Maniac lost. So now it's just me and Adapting that need to lose, and then all of the Energy squad is out from last year. So looking forward to getting 2-0 today. Hopefully it's going to be good games.
Well, you got a rep for that Energy squad here, the Emilzy, so I'm expecting you to win. Lasse, do you want to give me a scoreline for it? 2-1, 2-0 you, or how do you think it's going to go?
Well, I just said 2-0 to them, but I think we're going to 2-0 them. We'll see.
All right, well, hopefully they do actually get that 2-0. We'll get it back over to the desk and keep talking the set.
There's definitely a bit of a situation here where a lot of the teams like to be very humble and say the other teams are going to win for safety, I think, in this day and age, with how these teams are exactly, like, see, it was, I told you they were going to lose 2-0 already. Knights coming into this one, though, in week 9, this team did face off against the Renegades and take it down 3-0 in that best-of-5 set back in week 9. So it's been about 2 months since then. I'm excited to see how Renegades perform here and have adjusted to face off against the Knights again.
And not only has it been a long time since these two teams specifically have faced off, but it's just been a couple of weeks in general leading up to MSI. A lot of team prep, I'm sure,
surely gave
definitely the core focus for both of these squads. And Pittsburgh Knights, I think it's kind of scary to think about the fact that they've had so much time to do a lot of prep, but the same could be said for the Renegades. I mean, Cherio, Dardes, Nico, Raffer, all of them have just felt revitalized here in Season 6.
And we did get to speak to Raffer at the start of the year as he put this team together. He said himself he wasn't trying to put a team together that could just perform. He wanted a team that could win the World Championships. That's what he believes he's got. Renegades had a tough time to start off the league here in Phase 1, getting themselves all here, so had it all their schedule condensed down. But from what we saw from them, it was good enough to get them a spot at MSI here, but they think they would have liked to have done better overall, Tanaka.
And to be fair to the Renegades, it's tough whenever you're a little bit late to the party, so you're having to make all those matches up within only a few weeks span. So I think that was also another challenge because so many of the other teams were just getting opportunities to witness Renegades and what strats they were currently running at that time period to find the most success. But on the Renegades, when I had that 2-week period leading up into MSI, it's completely for strategizing new.
Let's see what's gonna happen.
I don't want to say like new god selection choices because I've always personally felt like Renegades is one of the more flexible SPL teams. They honestly kind of remind me of Armada in a sense, where I honestly feel like these players, all 5 of them, could play just about anything.
Well, we've already had a little chat to the Pittsburgh Knights about how they feel today. Let's have a tune in and see how the Renegades are feeling going into this matchup.
I'm here with Funballer for Renegades. And that's actually a pretty good point to start at, right? Actually, you technically don't really have to play Hunters over there nowadays anymore. Do you like how free it is over there in the dual lane where people are playing all these mages and assassins and everything? Or I guess just how do you feel about it?
I mean, I love playing like a bunch of random gods, you know, and I mean, it fits the meta, so play what I want, my team supports me with it, and yeah,
there's music in the background, I feel like.
Well, I asked the other team about this too, the Knights. How do you all feel about, I guess, kind of having the last set of the day? It does mean that you get to kind of watch what everyone else is doing and see what works, but you know, you might also be like maybe a little bit tired here. Like, how do y'all feel about it? How's the team feel?
I think everyone's fine with it. Like, we had a cheeky lion, so I think we're fine, you know. At the end of the day, we still have to play regardless if we're first, second, third, or fourth, so yeah.
I know you all are focused here on this match, but did you look forward to this next one a little bit at all? Like maybe thinking you might see Simplicity there, or were you guys pretty sure it'd be Dig, or did you guys look toward that match at all?
A couple of us thought that Simplistic would win. We used to scrim them when we were still in EU, and we thought they were pretty damn good. But, you know, Dig is just, you know, Dig's Dig, so... Yeah, it sucks.
Well, Emilzy was talking to me about how a lot of the old energy team has kind of already fallen off since they lost earlier on. Do you want to make sure that you're keeping Raffer going here in this one, I suppose, just for that, to make sure he...
Put a camera pad in the chat.
I mean, he's old. He's probably already gone, like, I don't know. Nah, he's fine. Sure. He's fine.
Okay, well, last thing I'll ask them the same one. How do you think this one's going to go? You think it'll go all three, or you guys can take it in two? Just how do you think the set's going to end up playing out?
I don't know. It depends if Dardes ends up trolling like he does in scrims. If he ends up trolling, then we might as well just say 0-2 to us.
0-2 to you isn't dropping, or
yeah, we're gonna lose.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to make sure everyone's in there giving their all. Look forward to seeing this one go. It should be a really good set. We'll get it back over to the desk, have them break it down from here.
Yeah, thanks a lot there, John Finch. Once again, no real surprise. Teams saying they're going to lose for the safety factor. I'm sick of it now. That's all I ever hear now is them just saying they're going to lose. And no one's out here saying we're going to just rip them apart, you know? I hope Armada do that tomorrow. Just saying. They better had do after their performance here today. But anyway, Renegades coming into this. And we spoke to Emilzy from the Knights as well. He was talking about how the meta is very much wide open at the moment in terms of playstyle and what's available to people. Does Knights and Renegades have their own particular playstyles that is very obvious to the natural eye?
Knights, I think, yes. Renegades, no, on the other hand. Dardes really is as much of an oddball as Funballer is pitching him, because you really don't know what to ever expect from Dardes. There have been times where he has had some of the most awful positioning imaginable, but somehow, because of his mechanical talent alone, he manages to work his way out of them. And that's a surprise factor, or a surprise element even, that Pittsburgh Knights probably won't fare as well in.
I'll be honest, I think nowadays Season 6 is definitely the year where, well, everyone in the league, and the minor league to be fair, has the mechanics required to play at this level. It's more to do now with synergy and communication, more than anything else in the Pro League. And this is why this matchup for me is probably the biggest one of the day. Pittsburgh Knights definitely have the mechanical skill and prowess, so to speak, with everybody. Expect them to be the best in roles and have been since the start of the season.
Not in MSI.
Well, it's a ragtag bunch that you've heard of before, and maybe they've got the potential, or haven't they? You know, are they going to be able to bring it all together as a unit here?
I'm really just keeping a close eye on how these god pools
his hair under the hair.
For Pittsburgh Knights, I feel like it's a little bit more locked in for at least some of their members. Zero's probably the first one that comes to mind, where you can typically gauge
I actually haven't seen it before.
What Zero's is going to be after, and that is a pro and a con in its own sense.
I get you, and I think that's one of the reasons why Renegades immediately will ban away the Morrigan. It's definitely one of Zero's go-to picks alongside Jormungandr. For sure is something that he's one of the only real proponents of in that mid lane. Knights have banned AMC and Freya themselves, funnily enough, and now with the Merlin ban from Renegades.
This is a good game. This is a good set.
Shen's available. Naja Kronos is the last one on that list I was about to say, as it's locked in first four. I guess that's going to be the vote in the jungle.
Could be for Vote, could also be for Zeros and Min. Had, like we mentioned, plenty of prep time leading into MSI, so maybe Zeros took that opportunity to try and brush up on a couple of different mages to have something to bamboozle Renegades with here today.
I mean, Renegades knew that they were going to give away Kronos when they banned that Merlin there, so now they're going to have a think about what's next on the list. Jormungandr is available. It's something that Nika has gone to before in that solo lane and made very good work of so far. But I'm not sure if it's going to be as easy as all that, because I think the one thing that happens with a lot of these teams at this level, Taco, is they kind of sit there now and go, well, they'll pick Kronos, and then we'll have to go Jormungandr and X. And when that happens, it develops a situation where you've already, like, into the counter ban phase.
Maybe when you always hit by thunderstorms and stuff, it's crazy.
For the most part, a lot of teams will have a tendency to kind of just chart out.
So increase first pick.
This is what we think they might pick, and then if they pick any of these things, then we go to this instead. But for Renegades, I find it a little bit odd that they're opting for a Geb so early on.
Geb is so cool.
I think is only an occurrence because Renegades are expecting Pittsburgh Knights to try and play that early to mid game a little bit more passively, try and provide some downtime for that Kronos to get farmed up. And the Pittsburgh Knights are not really a team that tends to look for the fights early.
Well, at the moment, Kronos Mercury now locked in for the Knights. And like you said, the Geb early game, it's not the most aggressive thing in the world with a Geb. The later the game goes, the more impactful. I would love a Geb at level 20 every game if I could have it on my side for sure. The shields, the Cataclysm, so useful. But in the early game, it's definitely available to be exploited. And I think that's why you see the Anher picked up very early on here to try and answer some of that back. Not only to answer some of the early pressure they've lost with the Geb, but also because Anher has a really good time against Osiris, in my opinion.
Funballer has been on fire as well in Season 6. Solo
I think it's going to be
about
Anher
everybody,
but it could be at the carry as well.
A couple of L's himself.
For sure.
Psycho one definitely hopping up into a recent memory, but still, the message is the same. Anher screams, I want to fight you at level 1, and probably all throughout the entirety of the laning phase.
So last time we saw the Anher pick up today, what was it picked against that? I can't remember. It was somebody that... Vulcan. Vulcan Snoopy. Oof. Did we see a Vulcan out from Pittsburgh Knights for that dual lane for Vote?
Skeptical that Vote plays it. Don't think that that's really in the wheelhouse. I would expect it to be a Hachiman instead. Keeps the theme going as well for the attack speed focus from Pittsburgh Knights.
That's a good point. You talk about that attack speed. I think that's one of the reasons Renegades did ban that Fafnir there alongside the Sol, just to make sure that Emilzy can't be throwing out those hammers and coercing some of these Pittsburgh Knights gods to be more powerful. Naja, Erlang Shen taken away. Couple of shots towards the Renegades jungler.
Are the banning those for jungle or the banning those for support?
Some Guardians now and again that could help out here.
I actually wouldn't mind to see the Kabrakan pick up possibly for Renegades. It's a really strong answer back for the Mercury, but has its own fair amount of risk behind it. Can't forget about the fact that if Kabrakan does falter in the early to mid game, his mid to late game does not feel much better.
It's always funny when you watch the players on the screen, they're just not even speaking. You're like, well, hang on a second, you're banning and no one's having a conversation? Is that just because someone else is talking, or you just all know what's going to happen? Renegades have locked in King Arthur. Now with the King Arthur lock in here, Taco, Zhong Kui has to go somewhere else than solo lane, correct?
Probably
King
for Dardis
Arthur.
mid.
That's true.
It's a pick that Dardis tends to like, and I think it's also a relatively safe first pick
I'm
option
confused.
for Renegades. And since they paired
Sung
alongside
mid,
of the Geb,
I know mid.
Zhong Kui and Geb as your top 2 leaves, I think, multiple. It's like a plethora of possibilities for where this draft could be headed, but right now the one message that I am getting from Renegades is that they're just looking to control the spacing in the jungle to try and balance out all of the possible objective shred that Pittsburgh Knights have going.
Just feel like Renegades are trying to do a bit of a rope-a-dope here, I'm going to say, because they've locked in Zhong and Geb as their first 2 picks, and then Pittsburgh Knight instantly respond with an Osiris, which is a great matchup against the Zhong Kui, to only find out that Zhong Kui is not going to be more than likely in the solo lane. Knights, however, though, 2 healers.
Aphrodite,
Horus, one of the newer gods to the game. More than likely in the support role is where he gets played most of the time. And an Aphrodite for the mid lane. This Afro pick for Zeros, I am excited about this. I think this composition the Knights have is like linked to someone and watch them make people explode.
Well, Aphrodite, whenever she gets that back off alongside of the Mercury, it's kind of tough to escape. Special delivery is going to keep him locked down from going all over the place either from the back off, but the Kali hover, this is a pick that I would love to see for Renegades. Yes, Kali's gonna have so much late game potential here, and Pittsburgh Knights, they're gonna need some ramp up time for their composition to come online, and that could just wind up biting them in the butt because that's exactly what Renegades are after, downtime.
I am looking at both compositions, and as we look towards the later stages of the game here, I'm kind of still feeling the Pittsburgh Knights in this just in comps. Like Kronos, Mercury, Aphrodite, they're all really good in the late game. And I know, Renegades have got Kali and Geb and Zhong, but they've also got an Anher.
I think you're underestimating the power of Kali with the resets.
But with a heal on Afro as well, and the back off.
Good luck finding it. Afro might be the first one to go down up against that Kali if things go late.
I'm glad we're disagreeing here for the most part, because it makes it definitely interesting for you guys at home to tune in and watch this one. On paper, you favoring the Knights or Renegades? I'm guessing Renegades gets a Kali?
Well, no, I favor Knights because they're early to mid. I think there's a lot of potential to work with. But if it goes late, then that should be all Renegades.
It's a very good point indeed. We have seen a hell of a lot of early game action here. Not really too many late games, so to speak, so far in the quarterfinals today. This is a best of 3 matchup, remember, between these two. And the last time they faced off, Knights took this down 3-0 in the Pro League. I don't think Renegades are going to go to sleep here, though. I think the eyes should be kept on Cherio's Kali here.
These 2 teams have got to be on edge right now, but to see Cherio with the Kali, it should be fun.
Well, there's the Knights on your screen. Let's get it over to the casters to cast the Knights versus Renegades.
Well, here come the Renegades. The Pittsburgh Knights directly across from them.
Kelly and Cherry.
I'm top manager. Directly across from me is Anatoly.
I wonder what they're going to do.
And of course, behind the scenes, as always, bringing you the action is Doug LeBlanc on the observation. So totally here. We've got some real interesting stuff to talk about. And honestly, I'm just going to give you the floor. What piques your interest the most?
What stood out during picks and bans for me was the Mercury pick out of adapting into the Geb. Geb was already selected, you know, it has a little bit of the anti-crit, but regardless, this is adapting that we've known in Season 2. This was one of his go-to picks up against Cloud9, but also what surprises me is Cherio opting away from his utility set.
Are they invading here? Double invade.
Well, right now we've already got a little bit of a scrum. Renegades have the numbers advantage here.
This is fucking good for PK. Oh my god.
Pushing out to the left. Pittsburgh Knights trying to invade here on the speed, and they've already.
They're stronger, so I understand that.
Majority of Renegades this time. You can see Kali already out of the building.
That thing is level 2, yeah? No, he didn't level 2.
He already has the speed buff, opting to share some of that solo lane farm.
It's actually some crew at the carry.
To retreat being that low, maybe PK has an opportunity to steal away the speed and control both timers.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case here. Kali, a different world. And you know, you mentioned Cherio kind of.
I figured that he should have done his own blue buff now because he'd also the better experience.
I feel like 80% of the time that's the Cherio we get, and then other 20% we see the Naja, and he goes for those hard carry, and the Kali certainly in his wheelhouse.
I don't even know who this is a benefit for.
Very excited because this is
Kali got
Cherio going
enemy red buff.
Carry versus adapting, playing this style.
Well, even with Naja, you could still play setup with the Windfire wheels, and if it's not Naja, sometimes it's the Hunt Bats for the Fear No Evil setup. But look what Cherio has been able to do.
But I guess that buff would die, so they're just gonna get to late game.
But he wasn't able
to
strip away the red buff as Zeros gets his own. So thus far, there's a pretty good advantage in terms of buff control coming from PK.
Adapting in a farm up as well, and both of these characters are
SPL is actually the tournament.
Darda's in the
MSI, mid-season invitational.
Because Darda is going to have a little bit more leverage than Zeros earlier on, and neither jungle is really going to look for these plays. So the lack of mid lane pressure for Pittsburgh
I don't know if I can,
isn't so much of a big deal, because although Dardas might be able to provide some push in a couple of levels, the junglers aren't going to be really there either.
Seems that Cherio knew there was too many people
coming up. I can stand up then.
And with his speed buff coming up in 30 seconds, there's a small window where Renegades can actually abuse this. As
I can stand up. That's perfect.
Get poked out with Zeros healing him
My
up.
legs are fucking
Shouldn't
dying.
be a problem. Outside of the mid lane control, though, I wanted to touch on the solo lane matchup just a smidge, because Deathwalker playing the Osiris. And the last time these two players faced, Nick actually got 2 solo kills onto Deathwalker when he was playing the Camazots up against Nika's Osiris.
And that's a big deal. You know, Deathwalker, one of these long-standing veterans, has certainly looked really good. We always look back to that Wolfie rival squad, right? And look at how much Deathwalker has kind of demanded the spotlight. Nika, up and cover is probably not an accurate statement, but certainly not the level of prowess that Deathwalker has been showing.
This camera placement.
So this time
I'm standing up right now.
To tip the scales any way he can, maybe set up for a blue buff, but it seems
cheer
Renegades are on top of it.
I mean, if it comes down to if you're cheering for the winners, then probably PK, I would say.
On the camp in the fight itself, Nika half HP, looking out from the inside, and Cherio's going to jump over the wall. Blue buff does get confirmed.
That's right. Renegades able to at least secure that one. I don't know if Nika can pick it up quite yet. He has to balance getting some farm. He might miss out on a little bit of experience for that.
Are you bored?
At least having
no, I just have to stretch my legs.
Contest with Deathwalker. He also has a health chalice for Nika, while Deathwalker opted to rush for those Gladiator shield.
The cooldown reduction also a big part of the blue buff for specifically King Arthur for sure.
Absolutely will be. Not too much quite now because he doesn't have the Gladiator shield for himself, but this is where things are getting frisky in mid.
Oh
that
shit,
right
I forgot
there,
to
we just saw the Horus kind of dash at the mid laner.
Nah, it's just like standing up is
deal, I think, with
like
Horus.
I've been sitting up for 6 hours. I need to stand up a bit more than at the standing table. Like as long as I'm not playing, then surely standing up is good.
Look at the ult, it's real flashy. Sure, let's you know,
Run off farm-wise is pretty good.
And
Android rushing boots. I think Aphrodite can back for a full Book of Top here, and he's actually getting the Book of Top. That's really good. Blinks are down on Kelly Gap. Horus got Tangoose.
Gonna be difficult to really kill members
DJ LASBRA.
towards the late game between the two double healers out of Horus and Aphrodite.
By the way, love the Aphrodite build so far. Again, it's just booked. We'll have to see where it goes. But we see a lot of these tanky healers.
I think I should just stand up every time I'm watching, man.
Healing. And also, for
both Solomons have a glacial right now.
Healing, but not any damage.
Full boost on Mercury. Not going to Larry, actually going to Warrior target. I like that. I hate Talaria.
When you see these healers, Thoth can synergize into Book of the Dead, which is very nice as far as a quasi.
I think Doolin is going to be pretty quiet.
And then the back off on top of it, that's how you 100-0 people.
Also the jealousy damage when you kiss another target.
Dardes gonna jump away, and protection from Cherio. Very, very close situation.
What the fuck happened? My internet went off for a second.
Adapting to kind of line players up, just a little short of the damage for sure.
No kill to be had from there, but at least granting themselves the right side mid-neutral camp and potentially a back camp and hold out Thoth because Raffer alone and isolate.
I mean, he's trying to body block as best as he can, but Raffer does find safety underneath the tower.
Raffer does find
safety. Not a big deal there. Pittsburgh Knights, though, for all their invades so far.
It's very fun they're putting out the Sankruya the
very
carries.
small lead, about 1,000.
He's gonna go Pentagon's piece on Sankruya. I wonder what else he's gonna go into after.
To get 900 gold, 1,000
right now,
gold
Pittsburgh's have a 1k lead, also 1k experience.
Specifically with the fact that
Pittsburgh just stripping.
The lower value on those
maybe they're just new.
About 375 of that gold comes from the 3 Totem of Coup advantages that Deathwalker was able to build up so far playing this Osiris. On the opposite side of the map, though, we haven't really touched upon the 2 quote-unquote
who got the mid camps there? It looks like
that's the thing, you know, it's funny the way this sort of thing works, right? We call it carries now because if you call your role, it shows up as carry. So
I mean, Golden Man is only 1k. That's barely anything.
I don't call my position Hunter. I don't
like barely anything.
Right, guys? Is that it? Is that it? And Snoopy and Funball leading the.
Oh, it goes up. I got to fight here. Gift does a blinks if he wants to engage. He can actually do it. Funball at 2, 1 down. He's going to do pretty good damage. Actually, Oracles are going to Renegades. Bam, bam, bam.
Over the traditional ADC kind of ranged carry really makes its mark. It's
1 year
burst damage when you're able to max one of your abilities is a lot different than your basic attacks are still ramping up.
But I wanted to talk about Funballer's mentality, the way he was rotating on the backhand side. He wants to be engaged on as a Sean Queen level 9 with all those protection stacks.
They go in, there's a blink in, that's adapting. That Sirius didn't have the kiss on Mercury, so he's dead. That is jumping in. Holy shit, that is a burst.
That Horus Dash, that any other character.
That is a burst, dude.
That is a
22 days.
Oh, Zeros also had to invest
holy shit.
Just to get
you better take one more smoke for that one.
From that one. Cherio is a sneaky jungler looking for a little bit more. But between these 2 hunters in the long lane, different builds between them as Vote opting to go for a very late game Warlock staff. Funballer instead going
Warlock
for
staff in Kronos again. I guess it's been popular again.
We saw it earlier.
Just so you don't get one shot, I guess.
Magical carries went it, and basically, Warlock staff is a fine item. The downside of Warlock staff is the price and how long it takes to stack
you have a life
and so if you are allowed to stack your Warlock staff, there's really no complaint about it.
Just wait and smoke at the same time.
Long lane for 17 minutes
it's guaranteed to get a mid offer.
Nice deal. So
that's not true. But there's a higher chance of you ultimately.
As you mentioned, Funball making that early rotation around level 9 around the Gold Fury. That right there kind of shows why he's not going for the Warlock staff. Funball's looking to be a little bit more mobile and more rotational, if you will. And so with that in mind, the last hits, the stacks are going to be at more of a premium. So go the Pyvags piece. which allows him to get those stats right away.
Well, on average, it takes about 8 minutes to fully stack this Warlock staff, and in the 18-minute mark, Renegades can easily start pulling away at this Gold Fury, knowing that Funballer is going to have a slight power spike advantage, especially having a little bit of cooldown reduction to poke away at Vote like that.
Didn't he say at 18 minutes they can start doing it, but it's
that said,
Pittsburgh now
in order to
selling
get
it.
100 stacks, you're at 8 minutes. I think the magic number is about 65. So shave a little bit of math off there, you know. Still, you're talking about 16 minutes into the game right now, right? That's absolutely a moment for Renegades. It is an exaggerated version of the Transcendence kind of game. You hit tab, you see the junglers building Trans 2, and you go, this is a moment. He's got a long time to finish that off. Let's go for it. You hit tab, you see, all right, he's got 18 stacks on Warlock staff. Let's make this happen.
Kill him.
And you can see Kieran right here, Funball forcing the rewind, and Funball didn't even need to ult. That was just 2 rotations of spells.
If he wanted to actually invest the ultimate once the rewind concluded, he could have, because on the right side, the Sonic Boom was already invested. There was no global rotation he had to worry about.
Meanwhile, adapting.
In front of him.
His beads chased out. That's all Cherio wanted.
What's up, Silly Fish? What's good, man?
This is an early game Kali, and the Crusher is going to amplify that early game Kali.
They got oracles again.
Early game Kali being a bad thing for those just joining us. But that Crusher will kind of give her a crutch to lead.
Laying down on Kali.
Still not enough for Cherio to feel committed there.
Mercury just got stone carrying.
Cherio doesn't turn away ever.
I wonder if Mercury's going to be hyper carry enough for late game.
I call that a win. We'll look later.
Slapping each other with pillows in the solo lane like usual. Nika not getting the better end of this one. Still a 3 Totem of Q advantage going the way of Deathwalker. Not much to lean your hat on. Once these solo laners start rotating though, a little bit more control from Nika in terms of isolating one individual target. However, Deathwalker, he's going to be able to tether multiple people.
And who has the lowest farm right now?
Damage, which is a huge
but it's not by a lot.
Funballer is going to be looking to do a lot of AoE damage. Dardas is going to be looking for that Desert Fury. And you can't forget Cherio.
Is farmed as fuck, despite only having no kills.
As a target for Deathwalker, mainly because Cherio's going to be able to jump out of tether range, as will Dardas.
I'm doing the blue buff here. Kind of about the blue buff, but Deathwalker's around. He just wanted back cancel and know that the Cherio's around.
Away from Deathwalker, it's really going to be Funball. Is in some trouble
like
later on. Right now, though, the mid lane is going to be a fight. Rafford knocked up, but similar to your pillow fight in the solo lane, when supports decide to punch each other,
you feel it.
Nobody breaks out the first aid kit.
You don't really feel it too much that time around.
Oh, he missed the ultimate after him. Dude, that's an insane ultimate for Milsy. Are they gonna be enough damage though? Alpha didn't follow them. That's disappointing. Ultimate Nika rotation as well.
Only 1 kill on the board so far. Zeros could and will be number 2.
Whoa.
Nika making the rotation from the short side, and Renegades put their second
but I can see he's doing it. Maybe it's to follow Mercury. Is it true that Rival lost as well team? Yeah, it is. I guess it's good. I don't know if he's gonna finish the Bombas, but if he does, it's to follow Mercury for sure and Kronos, because they're gonna be super fast.
Knowing that PK was gonna be a little aggressive on those left side mid camps.
Really well played by the rotations.
That was an insane rotation.
You know, Rafford does what he's supposed to do, but it wasn't actually him that turns that around. It's Funball.
I need to go toilet fast, feel back. Probably get some food as well.
They invested a lot there. They traded Geb ultimate for Aphrodite ultimate, and then once Nika was there, he was that individual CC'er that you needed. Still being a level 10, Zeros doesn't have access to the Aegis to be able to get away from that.
And with the Blackthorn, is this more hybrid than we usually see King Arthur? I feel like we usually, after Glad Shield, you need it. After that, I feel like we usually see more tank.
Sure, but the thing is, when you're rotating this early on, you're not worried about too much magical damage between the Aphrodite and the Horus. You might have to worry about Vote's Chronos, but he's not the most bursty either, investing into the Warlocks. In about 6 to 8 minutes, that's when you got to worry about Vote's damage.
Cyrus got
that 20% cooldown reduction between
so you can't really die
except the Gladiator Shield is going to help him find these extra picks along the way.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty nice to stand up.
Damage-oriented. Certainly helped him there.
Pretty nice to stand up.
14 minutes in, Vote has that many levels on top of the net worth, and that
Vote is gonna be fucking
as you're playing as you're sitting here on the Renegades team, you're going, all right, we got 2 kills, but we haven't gotten anything off of them. Still a tie game. And
Nika is a bit ahead after that rotation.
All right, Funball, you made some
got the kill as well, right?
That's all well and good, but Vote.
I think Enra damage is going to be insane as well.
73 stacks in the demo grip, so the downside of having Warlock staff is erased. It is now just upside from this point on. The demo grip online as well. So Vote can start making these plays around these Gold Furies pretty much around now.
He certainly can. Not too many protections for Funballer as he's only invested into the passive. His items giving him a little bit of health between the Pythax piece and now the Gem of Isolation. I love his style, Funballer, because he's able to bring out the hunters, physical or magical, and then play the mages as well.
Yeah, play the mages as well. Eclectic there on the long lane side. And going a utility build here, you know, the Pythax piece is there to help both him, the Kali, and the on her as well.
Not gamble all.
I see gamble all. Basic attack character.
Yeah, sure.
Gamble all. You've got 2 of them across the way, and then of course the Gem of Isolation.
Not gonna do it. Okay.
If you can slow an entire team with your ultimate,
yes.
I'll take it.
Because of the Gem of Isolation from Funballer, this
and
feels
Shava's
like
gonna
they're
sprint.
playing around Dardas and Cherio.
Funballer is gonna be so strong. It's gonna be so hard for
really
Mercury.
relying on that physical damage. Funballer
is
still
gonna be so hard for
get
Mercury.
felt. Don't get me wrong. It's a Jean-Kui still gonna do Jean-Kui AoE damage.
We're rooting for.
But it's just not.
I mean, I want both teams to win. I think PK is going to win the war.
I think they're still in a good spot because there's not that many protections from PK quite yet.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. This is in Spear of the Magus Shaman's ring for sure. This is absolutely, you know,
baby.
Util. I think we'll see some raw penetration and some power a little bit later
Game
on.
was a scam.
It's going to be a solo lane Jean-Qui build, but absolutely, Cherio and Dardas are going to look to be the premier damage dealers. I think Funball becomes the team fight guy. Just run up, stun a person, delete somebody low at HP. Exorcism versus Chronos always feels good. You can really get some big burst damage mid-rewind sometimes in a team fight.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Okay, so Alpha finished the boom bust. That means he can run away from the Kylie potentially.
Finally,
they got 4 blinks
upgrade between Messenger's
on
Mask
Renegades
into the Bumbas. I wasn't sure
if
he was going to leave it at tier 2 or not, knowing that for 1,200 gold, you're still at least getting 10% cooldown reduction, and you could have opted
I mean, Renegades and Pittsburgh are both pretty impressive teams.
That really likes his movement speed.
And with the Aphrodite, it's not a bad look. You know, I mentioned before.
Nice
Back off.
Rapper has a good game.
Are you gonna take a fight here?
He's about to get engaged on.
Emilzy, however, finds a knockup.
Ultimate can kill Cherio though.
Right on through, but really doesn't have too much of an impact.
They have a death augmentation. Is that gonna be a gold free first then?
Team fight, but this wasn't Renegades that initiated and turned around. This was
they do have without DPS for it. Cherio is better low as well.
Renegades, they don't have their jungler, but
they should have a fight
if they can. Presence to keep Pittsburgh off.
Never getting better low here, but so is Emilzy. Alpha does have heals. I'm not sure if they have anti-heal on the Renegades
so
yet.
it's a 5-on-5 here at the Gold Fury. Cherio is healed.
Keep fighting.
PK can do this all day, just rinse and repeat.
There's no way to hold in them if they like, even though they're 4 blinks.
Cherio being poked
out.
That was a 4-on-5 that Renegades had to kind of try to poke it, and now Rapper having to back. PK is just going to keep on the pressure and utilize this Afro Horus combo.
Is here and so does
when they're banging in, they're going to Zeros.
Renegades are going to take the
Egg is down. Is Cherio going to hit him?
After the fact could be different.
Who got the goal?
Zeros heals one up.
Renegades got the goal for it actually.
Trying to get the target, but will actually get a shield, get knockup protection. Will be put down for the first.
Oh, they're coming to Vote. Vote is gonna get shielded. Vote is gonna get shielded, but oh, it's oh, he's still dead.
Funball takes down Vote anyway, but Nika goes down to the
straight
hand
portal,
of
go straight portal.
That was a cute little ultimate from Emilzy. Surprise! And Renegades go down 2 players.
When you land from that Horus ultimate, you give your allies a little bit of a shield. So it bought him a little time to get a return kill. The rotation from Cherio not to be fruitful, unfortunately, as he didn't find his target for the reset. But at least Renegades were able to snatch away that objective.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big gold fury. That's a 2,000 gold swing from a tie game.
First one of the game at 18 minutes. These teams are playing a little bit reserved in the sense that they know where their strengths are, which is the late game. Once they see an opening, they're going to approach it. The first opening they had was trying to poke out Rafford. That didn't work.
Funball is going to be so hard to kill. I guess he's going to Divine with it. And he's getting Brawlers here.
Get the gap really out of the equation because look, Rafford still holding on to that ultimate.
Adapting's not. Goes for it. Here's the damage from Dardas. One short. Jump is bad. Adapting finds safety underneath the tower. He has a dash to Vote.
That's crazy.
And Renegades playing very aggressively on this left side. They know that they've just sent one back to base already. Mercury coming back, and so Renegades will Look for the purple invade.
What is going to be pretty strong though?
I mean, without the Sonic
boom,
I like the aggression from Renegades. Also, unfortunate out of Dardes to not land at least one more additional spear. That would have been a nice kill, but still able to at least get 500 gold.
Yep. Tower goes down, 20 minutes in. That is our first rubble, actually. We haven't seen a tower. Wow. Some of the games we've seen pre-10-minute towers. That's some of our other matches. At our mid-season invitational. So, Renegades, Pittsburgh Knights, changing the pace a little bit. 5 kills, 20 minutes. Very different look and feel from what we've been seeing here. I will say the one thing that is the same from the rest of the tournament.
Shaping up to be Dota now. How long is the Dota games? Does per games get healthy? Gets 200 health, yeah.
Very early in the picks and bans as well. By the way, these compositions are vastly different between how they played against each other in week number 9.
For sure.
23 minutes into game number 1, it was already concluded, where PK won that 10-3. So thus far, Renegades doing a good job holding on to the game. Still at a good
1 to 2 hours? Wait, really?
And this was a Terra slash
you sleep after the doctors? What did it do to you?
It was Emilzy playing the Fafnir the whole set, and Terra being played from Raffer. And Raffer switching things up completely by going for a very early
so far to pick the early gap, but
shift from this support player.
Raffer is multifaceted. You know, we look at certain players and say, oh, they're aggressive. They play in the front of the fight. We look at other players, they're defensive. They play in the back of the fight. Raffer does whatever
they don't have enough damage,
which I think is one of the most valuable things as a support player, to be that amorphous. It's one thing to say this is the identity of our team.
Merc can just not do a lot in this game.
I think Raffer,
but when he gets to late game, he still have like a lot of damage.
Largely what has earned him 2 world championships.
He's just
good luck trying to poke out Funballer. Did you see how little damage he took on the left side? Even through a Geb shield just was not enough there. So I think PK need to choose a different target for the next time around.
Naturally tanky, just due to the way the character is built, and of course a little bit of health from a couple of his items as well. A large grouping here in the middle lane. Renegades barely ahead. Pittsburgh Knights, though, seem to be the ones almost aggressing, excuse me, here in this mid lane. Renegades will entertain the idea for a moment and then fall back to farm.
I'm not sure if this is the timing window for PK to be this aggressive. They might actually sneak away this tier 1 mid tower, but there's no crit quite yet available for adapting. He really needs that death burner before he gets the
that's my good for Renegades.
Early ultimate from Dardes, maybe to avoid some CC. Didn't exactly see in the traffic, but tower does go down.
That's tower down.
That's thanks
I mean, it doesn't matter
much
much
lack of crit. Vote certainly has that 4th section of accelerate.
Go for sure.
Down
so
the
they're going to be looking for the gold.
That's certainly a boon that you get from Kronos and Soul specifically.
Who's actually going to be winning the fight?
How quickly they can shoot through towers.
Now Adapting's finished the Deathbringer.
I believe both shooters in the fight.
Yeah. Build up those rage stacks.
Yo.
For the crit.
Gakmo, thank you for the 9 months, man.
Maybe 2 shots baby. Force an early ultimate out of Cherio.
To be fair, Cherio with the
winner announced, I have no idea, man.
Lacking a little bit of penetration.
He's still waiting for it. He's still waiting for it.
Absolutely, where Kali shines as well. Once the Executioner is done, I think that's
When is Hyrus making their own version of Auto Chess? I don't think they're going to be doing it.
That's
even though it could be super cool.
That's the match that we've got in front of us.
And honestly, I don't know. I think that both of the teams have great peels. You got Gab from
They did high into the guards, but I mean,
you got Zeros
like
and Mills to be
completely
able
out
to
of
save
chess.
the allies. Whoever's out of position is going to feel the pain.
I think the Pittsburgh Knights have the advantage for one of 1.5 reasons. Zeros is going to enable his hyper carry a little bit more so than the rest of the team.
Well, maybe the Blitz game.
And 2,
no, that's not
I think Adapting has earned our benefit of the doubt to be the hard carry. This is out of the wheelhouse for, I won't say out of the wheelhouse for Cherio, but definitely not what he's known for. Adapting, on the other hand, is known for
I think it's already too late as well. Like, TFT is just too big now.
Carrying the game. So certainly a fun game for sure, watching how these teams are going to attempt to bring it home.
Renegades falling back, respecting PK's pressure and the poke potential.
Respecting PK's
Still
pressure.
To try to find an angle at this Oni Fury. Renegades thinking about a way to engage. I love the Divine Ruin pickup from Funballer, because once he blinks in, that's when Renegades are going to all-in commit.
Another reason I like this Pittsburgh combo is Adapting and Cherio starting
to move out in the middle lane.
Adapting jump and punked! Cherio with the kill! See you later, Kenneth!
That was with adapting, still having Aegis too. It's not as if he has the Blink and the Beats combination. He could have saved himself, walked up to Zeros. And now in the mid lane, Raffer going in.
Here's Zeros, knocked up one more time.
That's really, I think Renegades might be tremendous.
The rest of Renegades ignoring the tower, looking more for the team fight. Walker trying to zone, but tier 1 tower will fall down. Renegades thought about going all in, going for a team fight and potentially an objective. Tower was enough, but Pittsburgh Knights, they walked past the fault line, it seems.
Aphrodite's doing no damage.
Renegades tried to go for it, but again, Pittsburgh Knights playing their comp very well. Deathwalker Millsy up in front, truly a front line.
Adapting's going to be more mad that Cherio stole away the speed buff than he died now.
Oh,
guaranteed if we listen to the voice comms, but either way,
is just so not tasty. It really is. I don't think.
I'm
not sure if.
Use the Aegis, knowing that he was about to die, and at least run.
I'm not sure who's gonna win actually.
Aphrodite.
Here's my thought after the interview. Have HP already. And there's the retreat from Pittsburgh, and of course these repeated micro engagements are better for Pittsburgh because of the healing from Zeros. That's why I like the choice of Mercury specifically. Mercury can poke. Pittsburgh Knights are looking for these poke will heal. Poke will heal. Oh, you can't heal. Got him.
You know what's interesting?
What's that?
The fact that Adapting didn't use anything. Renegades can do Gold Fury.
And that's what I was going to. So, Cherio jumps on Adapting by himself, and he goes,
it's
all right,
good
if
that
I get out,
Adapting's
that's
still
cool.
about
And if I don't, deal with the Gold Fury. When I come back, I'll have my relics for the team fight. If I'm getting jumped 1v1 in the mid lane at this time, I'm not out for 60 seconds. I can come back and assist in the team fight with my relics up. Sometimes players just get okie doke and die before they get their relics. I think that was a calculated decision, and I liked it.
And it was also the Sonic Boom that's ready. That's why Adapting is looking to charge it up, and PK trying to force the issue.
Shield's almost getting one shot. Holy shit. Cherio is alive for now. There's a friendship proc. Funballer going in with the ultimate proc. Adapting is ultimating out. Oh my god, the damage. Horus going back in us with an ultimate.
The rest of Renegades
on
try to exit, but here comes Horus.
Looking for Nika potentially, but a good disengage this time around. PK ends back with their own Gold Fury.
Jonas and Mercury insane
objective damage. Game, but with the late game damage now from Adapting, this could open the window for the Fire Giant. 40 seconds remaining until Funballer revives. A 5-on-4 advantage.
Renegades, they're here.
I do have damage for it.
There ain't no
holy shit, I damage for it.
About this Fire Giant. Dardes puts down a pillar. Raffer gets a couple
of no damage to Raffer.
With a nice stun, and Zeros has to refocus. Fire Giant 33%. And it looks like it's going to be an all-out leash. Vote's ultimate chased out.
Merc does no damage.
A lot of injured players on Pittsburgh Knights. Right now, the Aphrodite already has almost 14,000.
Instead of going to the top today.
I don't think that's stopping anytime soon.
The set is actually pretty low.
Back from Pittsburgh.
He's a bit slow though.
Get the stop they needed.
A lot of damage coming out
You're
of
so
Cherio.
smited out.
Backhand side was good enough to
I'm kind of smited out as well after watching all these games, man. It's a lot of games.
Position to really get to the backline because they were all getting
engaged.
It's
a lot of fucking games.
Instead, not necessarily a missed opportunity, but they just don't want to give anything back to Renegades because this is a team that when you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. This is the way they started off
like a
in the
break
SPL. They came in late, but they came out hot, giving Dignitas their very first loss of the split. This is when everyone knew Renegades were the real deal.
And, you know, since then they have absolutely
after just Monday, Tuesday games?
Cold makes sense. Not a word I would even think about using. Renegades are a strong team, and they're going to continue to be a strong team past this midseason invitational. The next 13 weeks of Phase 2, I think Renegades are going to be strong as well. That said, Pittsburgh Knights are playing their composition really, really well. Not only are they going to look for those ranged pokes by way of Adapting and some of the other options, Vote tossing out a Time Rift, micro engagement, fallback, let Zeros heal. They can't do that, LOL. But they've been doing that with structures, too. They did it with mid lane. They did it here with right.
It's because they have Kronos and Mercury. Also smart timing because they know Raffer's Blink is not available. So there's no okie doke that they got to worry about quite yet. If they can just have Deathwalker be that buffer zone, get a couple of shots out of Votes, accelerate damage, that tier 2 tower is not going to stand for very long.
This is a wobbly lead, though. I think the strongest point to stand on is the fact that Zeros is playing this healer. But Renegades, they're even in gold.
That's
and
good
Cherio,
siege? No.
not where I want him to be.
That could be trouble for Renegades.
Cherio is left in, that's tier 2
tower,
target.
but PK might not let them escape if adapting gets a good sonic boom.
Yeah, you can see Cherio sneaking over here.
Maybe push up mid from PK.
Unnecessary tier 2, I would say. My point
That tier 2 is bad to give up because it gives
Renegades
the fight
have
and
kept up in
space
gold
way
for the
more
most
chase
part
potential
now,
for
slinking down
PK.
about 3,000.
Especially having
But
horrors
Cherio,
is going to be a bit of a risky one.
Cherio needs to start doing this. He's on the
Cherio's
back line,
going
looking
in.
for zeros, jumps up and down, can't find it.
Zero's an ultimate yet. Oh, he did it.
Cherio about to fall, good shield.
Cherio's low, Lucy going in, Deathwalker's a bit low as well. Zero's went in and fucking boomed him. But I think Zero's might die here. Never mind. Can Vote survive? Vote is ultimately where's he gonna land?
Rewind is
it's
good,
alive.
and it's enough to get him out of trouble. A 1-for-none
shield down.
as Cherio
They're gonna heal up now.
tries to take down the healer.
That's fire down, isn't it?
Re-solidify their footing and look again at the Fire Giants.
Zeros must have been the target
That's
out of
fire
Cherio because I see no other reason to all-in commit an Aphrodite there. Now they're looking for the Fire Giant and Milsey going to get stunned out resetting because they need some picks before they confirm.
Dardes on the back, running away from Deathwalker, starting very well. Emilzy surrounded by Raffer and Nika, but Raffer low in trouble.
Raffer
slow and down. Number 5 for Pittsburgh Knights. Vote picks up that kill.
Can they get fire down?
And now Cherio.
I really need to get it, but
up kind of soon. Raffer,
yeah, they can get it.
No such luck.
Renegades are really paying the price for that up and down out of Cherio still to this day, as Emilzy still wanting to look for additional picks. Nika rather tanky, so he's not in too much danger there as he avoids the time
fight on him. Bait it.
What I wanted to say was the fact that when Cherio jumped up and down, it must have been the target of Zeros. And he tried to get that heal when he landed, but he just missed a little bit.
Milsey messing with
Funball has no ultimate, right? Oh wait, Funball had ultimate, he's using it right now. He's dead though. Is Vote dead? Vote needs to get a kiss.
There's help from Cherio.
Nice ultimate from Adapting. Oh, he's going in. Did Cherio die? Cherio's dead. Adapting is alive, but he heals from Horus. Oh, not enough heal. Dardes is low here. Aegis.
Giving chase, looking for the cleanup. Dardes
he hit the free.
Juggle 2.
Oh, the lifesteal is really good there, but over the wall, it didn't matter because Emilzy lands first. Nika looking for a little bit more. The synergy from PK playing around each other after the Lovebirds connected onto Dardes. There wasn't much he can do. Even relying on the Aussie heal wasn't enough for him.
So that right there is an improvement from what happened with Cherio. This Renegades composition is relatively simple to understand, especially in comparison to some of the other comps that we've had. Cherio kills your team.
Yep.
That's what needs to happen here for Renegades to go. And that's
Cherio needs to pop off
effort.
to win.
That's how this draft is made up. This is Cherio's got to go to work. The first time, failed miserably. The second time, actually got a kill, but was traded out right away.
That's right. The only reason he actually got that kill was because Vote
I don't think he should have done it after.
And the purification beats. The Aegis wasn't enough to save him this time around.
He almost got him, but
Cherio found his second target, that's where Renegades would have started to waterfall the rest of the team fights. So Pittsburgh Knights can't breathe easy and comfortably quite yet around this Fire Giant objective. All action the last 10 minutes on the right side of the map.
And here's the thing, Anatoly, is that, all right, Cherio's had 4 at-bats.
He's getting good mid Guardian.
Struck out 3 times.
I guess just so he doesn't get fucked by Kali.
Inning over, short, right?
I don't know if it's worth it though.
3 more times. 1 team fight.
That's all it's
like.
You
need
this scenario, 1 team fight for Cherio to go well. And Renegades
he's already doing enough damage against
grab control of this game.
What's F.A.Q doing? It's giving you 10% more power.
Renegades are basically down to fight no matter what. Teams jockeying for position around the objective at the moment. DW and Emilzy.
Cherio blinked in. He cannot do that. I feel like.
There's the rewind.
He forced the ultimate without losing his ultimate. Funballer going in after. Funballer doing so much damage.
Funball is dead.
That's GG.
Zeros will heal his teammate back up. Deathwalker could be trapped. Nice shot from Dardes. And there's a grab from
Don't die,
Deathwalker. 3 Renegades jerseys around the support.
Nobody dies.
A little bit of help. Cherio timid. Looks for Vote. Stun is good. Zeros again with the back off, but Vote falls down to Cherio.
Vote is going way too far.
Earlier on in the game. 1 player down, it's Vote. 2 players down, it's Dardes and Funball. Numbers advantage to Pittsburgh at the moment, but not enough to do the objective.
The patience from both of these teams. Cherio started things off hot by forcing off the rewind. Round 2 engagement coming through from Funballer, but did you see how fast he dropped there? He needs a little bit more protections if he's going to do that.
Funballer's no Aegis as well, so
a Mantle of Discord would have been clutch there because, number one, he needs CC immunity once he goes in. Having the blink and the beads, he needs a second one potentially, and on top of that, the Geb shield even from Rapper wasn't enough to save his life.
That's the idea.
Nah, the game is gonna be over next fight. Next fight I'm calling it.
But the Mantle will actually help control the situation a little bit more. Right now, I'm thinking almost the Magi's Cloak is what Cherio could afford right then and there, might even change it into a Mantle.
And not only that, even once Funballer engaged, PK reacted perfectly.
45 minute game.
He switched his kiss target immediately to vote, got off the ultimate,
okay,
bought him a little additional time, but they couldn't handle Cherio eventually. Literally walking behind the whole squad that found the okie doke stun from behind. So playing really
is going online from anywhere. That's going to be pretty strong.
The tension. You could just cut it with a butter knife now around this.
10-hour loop? You think it's going to be a 10-hour game? I believe so as well.
It's been up and down here. Game number 1 of a possible 3-game set. 36 minutes in, we've got 17 kills. Pittsburgh Knights has 10 of those. A very different style game from what we've seen the past day or 2 or 3 here at the mid-season invitational. Slower paced and leaning on these.
Oh my god, he's back sitting down.
Late game hyper carries. Adapting, and the Pittsburgh Knights have a little bit more of an intricate situation going. Zeros have been able to do a lot of relevant damage. Low on the player damage.
Sudden death rules must bill.
I don't think so. That's what I was talking about. Sure. Adapting gets to the back line and does 80% of your life.
I don't think so, but
boom,
I'm not sure.
Zeros gets the last hit for that last 20 to 30. Look at the build. Look at the build. It's got a rod of Tahuti, folks. Zeros is doing the damage.
Well, it's not even about doing the damage. It's about healing your allies that are under 50% health to get the additional magical power. That's where it really matters to
also
assist vote.
I mean, it's $150. 150
That's
power
true,
is also just a
fully audible now.
You know, sometimes you just want big numbers.
He needs to do extra healing more than anything, I think, at this point in the game because
green numbers are big too.
We got the megas
can
now.
Be very, very big. I agree with you there, but Millsy should be safe. Here's Funballer playing around with Nika.
Nika gets crit for 357. I don't think he cares. Not quite a Magnum just yet. Deathwalker here, pushing down onto Rapper. Does not care either.
I think Merc needs to ultimate Enhu and get a one-shot or something.
Rapper. Nika gonna grab Zeros, a little bit less tanky, and here's Rapper waiting underneath.
Cherio went in.
The ultimate. This is big, because here's Cherio, and
Aegis.
the healer
Big ultimate from adapting.
Dardes firing to the wild blue yonder, helps out. There's
Cherio's dead.
already.
Cherio's alive.
By a thread, and
Cherio's dead. Cherio's alive.
Vote gets charged to, healed, but Dardes puts him in the ground. Cherio dodging and weaving and avoiding DW. Here comes the rest of the Renegades, surrounded, impelled. The rest of the damage is going to come, but it's slow. Deathwalker sits down. Cherio, another kill. We're tied at 11. Fire Giant is possible, Toli. Will they go for it?
Nika, the MVP of that engagement, and absolutely Renegade should go for it. And Millsy on the Horus, not really real much steal potential on that one in a 4-on-1 situation. Casually giving up the enhanced Fire Giant, the correct call.
Yep.
But man, Nika's Flake onto Zeros, the target that he needed to. Honestly, Zeros could have used his beads or the ultimate to get away from that ultimate earlier if he wanted to. But he rather saved that ultimate because he knew the follow-up that was about to happen. It was Rapper on the Geb ultimate.
They're holding on for Funball.
Smart.
2, 1. Funball's up. Give him the Fire Giant. That's why we see a little bit of a weight there. Renegades, absolutely.
Holy shit, dude, that's insane.
Coming up and usurping the lead from Pittsburgh Knights. Tie game as far as kills are concerned. The gold a little bit outdated as a
I don't have 5 anymore.
As we are 40 minutes in, but Renegades still down 5K, but their enhanced Fire Giant.
You got the counter offer.
Stat there.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been alright.
On the Zeros, and as you mentioned, didn't really do anything
because
we were seeing a lot of that. A lot of, all right, you hit me and there's no follow-up. So I don't mind the lack of getting out of there. What happened was Raffer.
It's not really good on any of the guards though. Maybe a Pestilence.
All of a sudden, Everybody knows what's up.
Everyone jumped in, not just Renegades, but even PK adapting tried to get a nice sonic boom, and it was effective for the most part, but you can't compete with the AoE damage between a Geb and a Zhonghui. Funballer blinking in alongside Cheerio is what tipped the scale from Renegades. Something we don't touch upon a lot in
enable 5
talking about
I think I can enable it anyways. I have enough mods.
Is the extra damage taken.
Yeah.
So getting hit by a full Excalibur's Wrath certainly hurts. That extra 10% damage taken is what allowed Renegades to eventually find the kill onto Zero.
It is so hot on here.
Exactly. The damage dealt, less damage dealt isn't really, you know, any worth of a concern. The Aphrodite here is largely to heal
5
up,
hit.
and the
It's
damage
enemy
dealt
most.
by back off to finish off an adapting target is usually good enough. Honestly, the difference in that team fight, Tolly, is the fact that Zero's ultimate was used before
Fuck you,
Cheerio
Jack.
jumped on him.
Don't do
Cheerio
it.
having to fight through 2 life bars essentially is what hurts him here versus Zero's. If you're able to negate that ult right away,
hey, which one is
Cheerio
it?
can go to town, one team fight, they take control of the game.
The only way they get out of that one is if a Millsy ulties the whole squad out of the team fight.
Literally getting out of that one. Here comes Nika. Vote will use the beads this time. They saw that episode already.
I need to see the fight.
Barely touched, adapting rotates. It's a 5-on-5.
Both survived this. Holy shit. Both survived. Okay, it's to the Phoenix with the adapting ultimate. That's insane ultimate. It needs an Aegis now. Oh my god, does Rafa die here? Rafa shield down. And Emilzy is going to be the one dying instead.
Out for the flank. Funball gets the kill on Emilzy. And it's a 4-on-4 one more time.
What a perfect sonic boom from adapting, catching Cheerio right at the tip, but they're not done yet. Funballer looking for Vote.
That's
Gonna
Phoenix
force
down.
out the Aegis. Left side Phoenix does ultimately crumble. What Renegades wanted at the end of the day, but did they bite off more than they can shoot? PK are gonna chase this one down potentially.
Deathwalker's movement speed increased by 0. Renegades are half fighting this. Not sure if I love this call. Nika fully commits. Here comes Raffer as well, but adapting still on the right side. Funball notices, tosses.
Adapting just can't do anything.
And we'll send adapting packet. Interesting play there. Minions, who cares?
Despite all that action,
Holy
despite
shit.
losing the left side Phoenix, despite being 42 minutes into the game, Pittsburgh Knights still can't be counted out. They're still looking to play aggressive as long as adapting is alive on this fully built Mercury. By the way, Midgardian Mail, that against
for the
Cheerio. You got to be able to protect yourself. There's still life breathing through Pittsburgh Knights veins.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a composition, and
I'm gonna find
obviously a team, but this is a composition you can't really count
5
out.
hit.
I think Zeros and Emilzy have a lot of, I know they have a lot of sustain, but Emilzy's got a lot of control. Deathwalker's able to do it. Adapting can ignore the front line for Renegades, which is a big deal of what Funball wants to do here. The fact that he's playing the Zhonghui, I made the joke with Taco earlier, he's a middle line character. He wants to be in the middle of the team
now
fight.
should be on.
He's not quite squishy, but he's not quite full tanky, and that's supposed to be more of a protection area for what Dardas is doing, but Adapting can ignore that by sonic booming through.
Definitely, and both of these teams going for a lot of utility into their build. Witchblade being picked up by Deathwalker. We're seeing Relic Dagger out of Emilzy to get those Frenzy Shells off a little bit earlier. More sustain from Vote, or more health rather, to be able to get off the rewind. This time Funballer does get that Mantle of Discord once he finally sold off.
I think the music is a bit too loud.
The music swells. The game knows it's go time. One more time. The Fire Giant gonna be here in about 15. Cheerio's not local. Renegades will look for positioning one more time.
Cheerio gonna ignore that stun, gonna try to get the beads out of Vote, but instead gonna get jumped on by Deathwalker. PK though, thinking about rewinding, but where's Vote landing?
Right in the middle of Renegades. Raffer with a nice ultimate negated, but Funball finds the kill onto the Scotsman.
GG.
Here comes the rest as Cheerio on the tear. 1 down. Deathwalker is gonna be number 2. Dardas takes care of it in the jungle.
Renegades popping off.
Versus the world.
Afro Mercury does not
and
able to do
Dardas
enough.
could go down with 1 punch. That said, he'll be chased out by Cherry. The rest of the team will go to the throne room, and 1-0
GG.
Renegades take the lead of the set.
What a game, Renegades. 44.5 minutes in. getting the first one in this best of 3. Who cares that they lost 0-3 in week number 9 to Pittsburgh Knights? MSI, a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely. I think this is a little bit more.
I think too little amount of damage.
They came out with a strategy unique to themselves.
A bit too little damage.
Renegade are a squad that play their game, and when they do so, they look real good. Yeah, fun ball. You want to play Zhang Kui? Go right ahead, man.
It was perfect, man. Finally, once he got that Mantle of Discord, it helped him survive a lot of those engagements a lot easier. That play from Nika, I think, is the standout play for sure onto Zeros. The great turnaround also coming through from Kali, coming through from Geb, and the Zhang Kui, all in onto PK.
Wonderful stuff, man. There's a lot of points that I want to talk about, but I'm here. It's the desk's job to do that, so it's you guys, all you.
Well, it's not really mine. It's more me to just recap what we saw in Taco to break it down for us. And Taco will be doing just that momentarily. What a big game 1. Longest game of the, I believe, the week so far with how this is going. But you kind of expect that with a Kali versus an Aphrodite.
We were all, I think, anticipating that this first game would stretch out a little bit longer here. But it's kind of just what both of these teams alluded to with their initial compositions. Aphrodite, Kronos, Mercury, even to a certain extent, are going to take some time to actually get their itemization choices online so that they could really feel their full potential. But even with the Aphrodite sustain on top of the Horus, it just wasn't enough to completely overpower Renegades in a lot of those teamfight engagements.
Because the early game Knights just seem to want to farm up there for the most part. Obviously with the Mercury, the Aphrodite, and Kronos all want to just farm. Team fights break out, and Knights actually got the better end of it in the early game, Taco. I would feel around the Gold Fury objectives, it worked out well.
Oh, Deathwalker was having a lot of influence earlier on with this Osiris being a little bit more of that zoning bully, but this fight in particular, I really wanted to kind of scope in because it's much later into the game. Clearly, both of these teams are at their peaks, I would say, as far as God play potential is concerned. And where this fight kind of collapses, this is almost the beginning of the end for Pittsburgh Knights of match 1. Because, go ahead and roll the clip and get things going. So, Zeros and Nika are the two that you really want to keep your eye on. Emilzy on this Horus, it's really important to look at Emilzy on this Horus when he dashes in here into the heart of all of the Renegades. Because after he does that, it gives Nika the go-ahead to then just look to try and punish Zeros on the backline. This Aphrodite is now exposed. His primary peel has initiated, or softly initiated from Pittsburgh Knights, kind of just trying to gauge the response from Renegades. And all of the Renegades instantly look to collapse when Zeros gets caught up. Pittsburgh Knights are forced into an immediate attempt at a retreat. But as they're rolling, keep the clip rolling now, you'll notice that Adapting and Vote, they were sitting rather far back, probably anticipating Rafford to come blinking in, but all of this is already permitted for the Renegades to now use this momentum to just continue collapsing inwards onto the Pittsburgh Knights. Adapting tries to do what he can, coming from the backside really deep with that Mercury ult, but overall, it was just too much power being unleashed all at once. Renegades just had all that forward momentum, and with Pittsburgh Knights uncertain of whether they were getting pincered or counterflanked one more time, it just made things a little bit too hectic. And once they all corralled themselves inside of that fire giant pit, it was very easy for Funballer to come through with a big cleanup crew action. Yeah,
you could see on that replay as well with the choke points that they were actually be able to use, because Mercury can't really get involved in those choke points with the sonic booms that you're looking for.
Adapting got trapped, waiting for his moment to strike.
Very awkward situation then. But was that a real plan from Renegades here? As I drop my pen on the floor randomly, was that a real plan from Renegades here? Because it looks like they kind of expected Pittsburgh Knights to go in that direction of, you know, this Mercury, this Aphrodite. They seem to have guessed
I don't think that Renegades were expecting Emilzy to dash forward with the Horus, but after Emilzy did that, it just lit up in Nika's brain, hey, this is my opportunity to try and pressure out Zeros from being as much of a participant in this engagement. Once he isolated the Aphrodite, Pittsburgh Knights don't have any other option but to try and collapse around her, and it's because of that grouping that, like I mentioned, Funballer with the Zhang Kui, all that AoE damage starting to come into fruition there for Renegades, and the pieces just lined up perfectly. They get a solid wipe against Pittsburgh Knights, and Pittsburgh Knights probably kicking themselves just a little bit for that.
Well, the Knights and Renegades are getting in to pick some bans for game number 2 then. And the question is, does anything really change? Knights going to ban away the AMC, and Renegades going to respond with the Morrigan. I think we could see a very similar game. Maybe just 1 or 2 picks being switched up here.
Pittsburgh Knights might look to try and blow things out early on. I mean, they've already done their 40-minute stretch. I would not be surprised if they could maybe look to shake up the pacing of this set and just look to put a halt to a little bit of that Renegades momentum from game 1.
Okay, well, Nat's going to have a hard think about what their next bans are going to be. Do we expect any sort of counter bans coming through now, or is it still going to be the standard meta bans that we've seen so far?
Pittsburgh Knights look like they want Freya, so I'm not certain that they're going to choose to ban her. And as an adjustment, Jean Coui's going to come out instead. But this is risky now for Renegades, because if they do choose to ban away the Freya, then that leaves Pittsburgh Knights open to having that Chronos one more time. And sure, they might not have had success with it in game 1, but Chronos is still a deadly pick. But
if Knights get the Chronos, then that would mean Renegades could get the Merlin too, because don't forget, Merlin's still available, and it's one of those contested picks too. I think that's what Renegades are going through their minds right now as we tune in with Darda's having a good conversation about what he might like for that mid lane position here. After just one game so far, with Renegades with that first win already, it's the first time they've beaten Knights so far this year.
It could just have total chaos, by the way, and Renegades not ban any of those 3. Just leave Merlin, Chronos, and Freya all available on the table, because Renegades, if that's the case, even if Pittsburgh Knights get Merlin, there's a chance that Renegades just get Freya and Chronos in response. I almost wonder if maybe Renegades might be prompted to just look for an early Neja ban instead, or something.
Sort of a throw. Well, maybe. Yeah, I was going to say, is it really worth banning a Neja if you're Renegades when you've got someone like Cherio that can pilot that, or even Rafa if they needed to?
Maybe the Fafnir instead.
Fafnir could be a good look. But then again, if you're going to go for Freya and Chronos, if you're lucky, then you'd like that Fafnir in your own back pocket too. And I think Renegades have a long, hard think about this one. They're really using up their bank time, and I can completely understand this. This is why the bank time's there. It's not for you to go to the restroom. It's really there for you to discuss with your team what you want to do next.
Hey, Funballer seems as though he's having a lot of input here. Everybody had their heads turned trying to pay attention to their ADC, and it's going to be the call against Soul. This is what Renegade chose to ban third in game 1, so they did jump. I went for the Fafnir, but looks as though Soul's the concerning one. But
so
Freya and Chronos are both open. Freya's already in.
Chronos?
Chronos, I'd have to expect him to be shortly after.
Is it worth picking up both of them this one? It is indeed. Renegades will do that. So PK have to answer back then with Fafnir here, right? They can't leave Fafnir open just in case Renegades do take that for themselves.
Not a chance. I think that they have to go for the Fafnir, like you were stating. Otherwise, it could be very problematic to try and shut down the Freya and the Chronos. Pittsburgh Knights had to have been expecting this. Adapting should also probably look to prioritize more of a base damage focused type of assassin. Maybe not necessarily the Mercury, because if you're looking to trade in a 1v1 with Mercury, you've got to get up close and personal. And against Freya Chronos, even with crit on your side, that can be tough to handle.
We'll see how this Merlin works out for the Knights now as we tune in with Vote on your screen. He could end up piloting that Merlin. We've seen it a couple of times in the duo lane so far, or at least in the carry role position. Don't know how that matchup would be though, and I'm guessing, do we expect it to be Freya in the duo lane here and Chronos in mid, or Chronos duo?
Give Funballer Freya every time. Dardas knows how to play the Chronos. Both Dardas and Funballer are capable of playing either Freya or Chronos, but keep in mind, and I feel like it's so relevant to state, because Funballer, the one game he won in Season 5 with SK, when they were on a complete losing streak, came with Freya, and that was before she was even the way she is now.
That's true. Funballer quite animated on your screen there as well. The Fafnir pick from Knights, not really surprising. We expected that to be the case. But the question is now, Renegades really need a front line, and they need some physical to go along with this too.
Could also look for the Bologna, but
they picked Merlin, sorry.
Gonna be another staple pick here for Renegades.
I like that Bologna idea too, just for the disarms, right?
The disarms, and give Freya and Chronos free reign. I mean, Freya? It's kind of crazy.
That's the future. That's when Chronos and Freya have a baby. We'll call it Kreia, and it'll take over the world. Well, the King Arthur ban, then King Arthur pick.
Both teams are looking very strong.
Phase now as well. That Bologna could be taken away by Renegades actually if they don't want to have to deal with the disarms. That could be impactful against Freya and Chronos. Not sure if they necessarily need it though. With that
Mercury ban
already being picked up. Erlang Shenny's on the table here too, funny enough, and it's still not been banned just yet.
Erlang is a little bit spooky though for Pittsburgh Knights to want to fall towards, because they've already got the Achilles and the Fafnir. And this is not enough burst damage just yet to appropriately handle the Freya Chronos. And I really can't stress it enough. This Freya Chronos, maybe a Habwa for Pittsburgh Knights adapting in the jungle.
I was going to ask you a quick question as well about this Achilles. Why Achilles picked up here? Because we've not seen too much of that just lately.
Because Deathwalker cyber bullies you when he plays Achilles.
Even against King Arthur too?
Even against the King Arthur, I think that there's ample opportunity. It all depends on what Pittsburgh Knights choose which lane to play out of course, but I would probably expect them, if this is an Achilles for Deathwalker, to be very aggressive from that solo lane, because you shut down the King Arthur, you shut down a lot of the frontline potential for Freya Kronos, because Renegades are going to need a decent bit of frontline to really ensure that their mages can free cast.
The Pittsburgh Knights giving a lot of respect to Rafford there with the ban of Ares and the Geb in tow. Renegades though going to go back to the Kali one more time. Cherry had a fantastic performance on that in game 1. If you can match the pace of that,
I mean, a lot of fruit with some vanilla cream and chocolate.
Game 1 also went 40 minutes, something deep, and Pittsburgh Knights kind of.
And it tastes motherfucking delicious.
Well, I mean, if you're Renegades here, Taco, if it goes 40 minutes, I'm happy with my roster. Freya, Kronos, and Carly late game, yes, please.
Disgusting. King Arthur, not even. It's not like King Arthur's even a bad early game presence, because Freya can kind of fulfill the early to mid game where Kronos might be a little more lackluster, and then from mid to late, obviously Freya is going to escalate. Same thing for the Kali, and Kronos, of course. We've all seen what he's capable of when these games stretch past that 30-minute mark. Hachiman and the Erlong, though, still being debated by Pittsburgh Knights, and I have to imagine if they do opt for this Erlong, that they're just going to be looking to strike early on and keep Renegades suppressed. Yeah,
Pittsburgh Knights clearly in the screen having a good hard think about this one, because Erlang Shen is definitely one of those guns you expect to see picked up with how the league's been played out and MSI so far, but seeing them pick last from the Knights is quite surprising, slipping through the bans and the counterban section all the way down there. But now Renegades, well, they've got a chance to respond here.
I think the only thing I really find odd about Pittsburgh Knights is that Vote wanted Hachiman over the Jingwei. Jingwei, not only can she build the crit that I think is kind of a necessity right now in comparison to Renegade's composition, but Hachi's escape method, not as reliable in my opinion for getting away from the likes of a Kali. Even the Horus ultimate has decent chase down potential with the entirety of Renegades.
Taco, the rosters are locked in here. We've seen the picks and bans. Renegades draft is looking mighty strong as this game goes on. Do they put Pittsburgh Knights to bed just based off the draft alone?
They got Freya Kronos.
Do you think that's all it takes?
I think that's all it takes.
Well, I guess Pittsburgh Knights.
Yeah, Witchblade, with Guardians.
Take on here today, then they've got the ability, you know, they've got the mechanics and the skill on this team, but can they execute it here up against the Renegades is the real question. And I think a lot of the early game may have to come down to that.
Renegades just played this mental game entirely to their favor. The fact that they opted for that soul in their secondary ban phase to knowingly give up the Merlin, but take the Freya Kronos in response, I don't know, Hindu. It just feels like Pittsburgh Knights kind of drafted themselves into a corner.
Well, let's find out if the Knights can battle back to a 1-1 scoreline. The casters are standing by to bring you game 2.
Renegades right now, after game number 1, that's momentum, man. Swinging right into game 2. They're going to keep Cherio on the Kali. Why? Fix it.
I'm a little worried, F.A.Q. It looks like Pittsburgh Knights are doing their best Space Station Gaming impersonation by giving away the Freya and the Kronos at the same time.
Yes. So it was funny. We didn't discuss it. So Cherio actually did kind of make me a little. The Kali wasn't the #1 player on the field.
Sure, it was everyone, right? For sure.
And Kali kind of made it happen at the end, but it took Cherio a long time, not only to come online, but also find that kind of miracle team fight.
That was very awkward.
Funball and Vote staring each other down. What I love about this is they're locked in. You look at the player cams, no smiles, because the second you buy into the jump party is the second you get jumped on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You were talking about Cherio's ability to carry this game. I think it's either him or Funballer, and now also Dardes.
And that's the key for me, is that if this was, game number 1 was the Cherio carry project, and it was shaky. You did not get a 100 on that project, despite the fact that you passed the class. Cherio looking for the invade here, or the defense rather.
Can he get it?
Looking for the invade. But with Cherio teamed up with Dardes, Kronos, Funball, Freya, I think that's a much different situation.
It's hard to.
There's a lot of different options here this time.
It's hard to fix.
The invade coming through as Renegades, or rather able to secure their own buff.
To fix fair, yeah, the way she is.
This time around, as I do expect Cherio to still have many opportunities in the late game, similar to game 1, because now there's no Aphrodite and there's no Horus that he has to worry about to find the kills.
Cherio getting very aggressive here in the early game on the Kali, jumping and stealing some of the back camps as well. Nika here, 1 versus 2, because Horus kind of went over there to the left side to deal with what was happening there. So Nika's been playing the 1v2 and kind of doing well so far. Not a big deal.
More solo farm now for Nika. On the King Arthur, never a bad thing. If you're able to hit level 5 before Deathwalker has access to that Fatal Strike, you could potentially bully out Deathwalker right before the Gladiator shield timing will which would have completely disrupted the flow that a solo laner is expecting.
That's the worst. You wind up back home 50, 70 gold short.
And even if he's not like level 5 first, once he hits level 4 first, that is a big advantage.
Well, it's in the other direction.
Well, there's also there's 4 archers right now, and that's where, like, if we look at the experience per minute, once those archers are stripped away, Arthur versus the Achilles, a smidge advantage.
This early game is going to be very slow, I think. Like, there's a Kronos and a fucking Freya.
That makes a difference here on the solo side of the high level.
It's going to take a long time before something is going to happen.
It's a very big deal about this 1v1. That's what makes this solo lane so dynamic, and that's what makes solo laners themselves so interesting, because it's very much it's a 1v1 fighting game-esque scenario over there on the short lane.
I wonder when the invades are gonna start. Like, I don't see too many invades happening in the first 10 minutes.
So to have that mentality of, yeah, I'm gonna win and know my matchup and do all this, but also I'm building Witchblade.
Coffee and a J. Wait, what is a J?
Squad. You know, that's always real interesting.
Last time around, PK only sent 1 to look for the blue buff invade. This time, they tried to send 2. Unsuccessful. Again, Nika confirming his own buff. Still no real damage between these 2 solo laners. But yet again, instead of a Milzy sharing the wave, it's adapting. This helps adapting, but this severely hurts Deathwalker.
Wait, how do you only spell that with a J? Usually you don't only just say J, right?
It's an interesting thought process, because Achilles doesn't have to do as much damage to you to kill you, because he's got an execute, right? And the execute doesn't exactly level up as far as the execute threshold.
Sure.
And so with that in mind, you can kind of be a little bit behind in the Achilles.
It depends on what you're getting for
What's
it,
up?
right?
Yummy.
And what PK is getting for it is 3
How you doing, buddy?
coups, because Nika can't out-clear Deathwalker and a Milzy, or Deathwalker.
J is short for join.
So
okay.
375 collectively.
I didn't know that.
Those 3 totem of coups.
And that's a big deal for Zero.
I thought it would be J-A-Y.
Not a lot of sustain on that build, comparatively speaking, to the Mage's Blessing. And
Didn't know you could just put a J.
Everybody thinks right away to gold or the solo lane.
But I mean, you pronounce it the same way, right?
Mid laner is going to play,
so I guess it makes sense, but
build itemization-wise. So Pittsburgh Knights doubling down on that totem to allow Zeros.
We out here getting dank.
It's actually all a big part of the same.
Can we get a hashtag dank in the chat?
The Aphrodite rushed the Book of Thoth. Seems like he's doing the same this time, except he wanted to get a little bit extra mobility on the boots. Good flicker.
I think it's good to rush Book of Thoth on Merlin in games like this. Hashtag dank.
Are boots one worth it because it's only attack, or it's only movement speed rather. Against an early game Kali, I probably want.
Dude, I'm getting tired, man.
So going for the book.
I woke up way too early today.
500 on the booties, not a big deal.
58. Thanks, Free Fuse, sadly. Why is that sad? I think it's.
Well, Cheryl's here already. That's
oh yeah, admit that. I think it's. I mean, I don't even know I had this discussion on stream. But surely. You should just be happy that you achieved to be away from that for 58 days. In my opinion, it is.
Giving a shout out to Ducky.
It's fine though for Nika. He wants all this solo farm. He'll hit level 12 now before Deathwalker certainly will. Now losing
it's really good for you. Yeah, exactly, dude. But again, it depends from person to person. But I know that some people, when they're down and they seek to but I don't know what you call it. when they seek to other remedies than handling it with their feelings, and then they seek to other remedies is when they fast can end up ending wrong, I would say. And then when you're already down in that spiral where you do it when you're sad, then it's gonna be more and more of a thing, and you're gonna keep doing it. Those scenarios are not good, but if you just do it for straight up fun or to relax or something, then sure. But I think there's just too many times where people end up like doing it too much when they're in that like bad mood. I think that's, from what I've heard, I've never tried it myself, right, but from what I heard, that's like when that's probably the worst times to be doing it. Because if you do that for a long time and you do that every time you're sad, then how are you gonna handle being sad? Like, if you can't get through it without smoking, right? That's at least my fault.
He's now finished off his Book of Thoth, so he'll be very comfortable spamming all his abilities.
It's also in juxtaposition to game number 1, not an Aphrodite. Two very different roles. True. You know, able to provide the damage. I went on and on about back off, but Merlin does more damage than Afro, probably.
Attempt number 4, we're gonna have a 4-on-3 scuffle.
There's Deathwalker getting in trouble. Cheerio here.
Will you hold your hand?
So does have access to
holding
the
hand.
There's the spin from Nika. Cheerio still.
Actually, the fights are looking to go Pittsburgh's Knight's way right now, but nothing else to be expected really.
A little bit of trouble is adapting. Big poke. Renegades now jumped on here.
We did all things in life, exactly.
Raffer low. Cheerio
exactly.
Low. Nobody dead.
Wow, Zero's almost finding that last hit onto Raffer.
Even video games, I completely agree. There is still for some people who is focusing too much on video games when they shouldn't. And same comes with streaming, honestly. Like, some people have fucked up their lives by like committing to streaming too much. And video games are pretty, I don't know if it's straight up addictive, but at least you get a feels good feeling, right? And achieve that when you win, especially for me at least. When you end up winning, it's like you want to win again, and then that way it gets addictive. Especially, I would say, or just learning something and achieving something in the game is just also super nice. But yeah, games can be surely can be a problem.
The reason I asked that is because, you know, Pittsburgh Knights going for this repeated blue buff invade, that's absolutely their thought process. Shut Nika down, prevent him from doing stuff.
I think in like around like my years, like 20 years old and stuff, 20, 25, I think some relationships have been ruined because of gaming.
Is it really that big of a deal? Because right now Nika's been able to survive,
like
half a level up even because of the repeated multi-man invades.
But there's so much that can ruin relationships, right?
To be invaded on by Renegades.
Can they get out though?
Yeah.
Raffer, a little low, forced to use the ultimate.
Ultimate?
He's stationary though while he's channeling it.
We'll see how that one all works out. For now, obviously a little bit of a technical mishap, but 9.5 in. We're watching what's going on here. Game number 1 goes to the Renegades, and as for game number 2, it seems to be at parity. Yeah. Watching these teams go back and forth.
Big thing is balance, exactly. But that is almost how it is with everything.
More about this look from Pittsburgh Knights is the fact that the Erlong Shen is coming out, which is not as relegated to the late game as the picks we saw earlier.
A lot of control from adapting on the Erlong Shen. Not as late game hyper carry compared to the Mercury in game number 1. So you can tell PK is switching up their strategy to try to make those early plays, because it wasn't until like the 18 or 20 minute mark where the Gold Fear was finally contested. And I think that if I'm Renegades, I'll gladly give up all my blue buffs if I can strip away red buffs like that.
Exactly. And then talking about the other side,
especially Nutella.
Blue buffs, I'm looking at the late
Nutella wins.
I've got a Kronos, I've got a Freya, I've got a Kali. This is
I got a Kali.
This is not something that I really want to look
game gets without Morrigan. Yep, I think so.
I'm trying to win the game at the 19-minute mark. I'm waiting for these later game opportunities. So I mentioned Nika kind of treading water. Renegades are sitting there like, Nika, please, just hold on. We'll show up in 10-15.
And Nika's used to that.
Wow.
He'll be fine.
Do you think that DC as well?
When the Renegades first showed up in the SPL in Season 6, it was the Dardas and Funballers.
Oh, yeah.
Between those two players, they were the number 1, number 2 KDA for the first 3 weeks that they were playing in it, until Baskin showed up to reclaim that throne. But I think that Nika is comfortable still on the Arthur. He knows what his responsibilities are. We saw what he was able to do in that 44-minute game, making honestly the MVP play, catching zeros on the backhand side. Could be a similar story now because Merlin a little less safe than the Aphrodite.
That's absolutely true. You know, it's interesting to say less safe than Aphrodite, something that we've been looking at for a while. At the moment, though, Game 2 is paused. Number 1 went the way of Renegades. We're going to take a look at what happens on the desk real quick.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tom and Toli as well. Apologies again for the technical difficulties we're running into. Hopefully they get taken care of soon. I'll have updates momentarily for you, but me and Taco will be joining you now to at least keep you busy for a few moments or two with what's been going on so far in this set. It's been a very interesting day so far, and unfortunately we're in a bit of a pickle in the game as usual.
A little bit of a pickle, for sure, but again, I guess this is a good time now to kind of dive a little bit deeper into this Renegades draft and exactly how it came about in the first place. A little bit of risk versus reward definitely being involved early on, but we were actually just having a conversation about how Zeros has a tendency to want to prioritize more safe to farm type of mid laners, which I think is the primary reason why there was a lot
getting
of
tired, man.
placed into that Merlin.
We're gonna watch the last game, but now it's DC'd.
It's so hard to build against that magical DPS.
And I think that's the one question we were talking about more than anything is that, well, Zeros likes to play the safer gods with New Wars and the likes of Souls, so why wouldn't he go for the Freya in the mid lane? Instead, they've gone for the Merlin option here. I'm just getting an update from production, guys. We're going to go to a quick break. After that, I'll try and give you an update on what's going on. Apologies once again for the technical issues, but we'll be back as soon as we can.
Oh, no. Turn up for the music! Hey! Good dang in here! Is it home in the group? Yeah, I am. Oh my god. I got the youngster in the cinema. I guess we're just gonna sit that way. Gotta get shifty. What happened? Somebody won. Smite into the diet. RS, I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm gonna let the same comps. I think they're just continuing to play the same game. We're training in 3 minutes. I'm dip off after this set, after stream. I think it's way tiring to watch this than it is to sit and play games. I don't know if that makes sense. Dude, more like less nap, honestly. Hi, chat. I'm taking a nap. Oh, close my eyes. Oh, good morning, chat. Oh, morning. I'm actually tired. If I was allowed to sleep on stream, I would maybe have taken a nap right now, but you're not allowed to be away from your stream for more than 1 hour. You're not allowed to be away from the stream for more than 1 hour. They're still playing, by the way.
Hey boys and girls, if you see my face again, you can imagine what I'm here to say. I'd like to apologize again for the technical issues we're running into today. The game between Pittsburgh Knights and Renegades for Game 2 is still ongoing at the moment. We're unable to bring you the coverage of this second game.
No.
If there is a third game, we will be looking to bring that one to you. But for now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do about it here at the moment. We're working to fix on the issues. For the time being, though, we're going to have to go to a wait screen for the time being where we work out what's going on and to get the result of that game too. Apologies once again, but hopefully we're back after this break.
I might just go to fucking bed, dude. You look like you need a nap, man. You need a nap? I do need a nap. I'm about to go to bed soon. I'm about to go to bed. That's for sure. I just might play if you want to play some marbles. You can win 100k watermelons. I'm a join as well. We get a peepee smoke while we wait, chat. A peepee smoke. Oh, I might be able to do this. I'm a fucking magic man. I have the keyboard down here. I have the keyboard down here, man. I'm fucking OP. We have the marbles game starting here. Marbles game starting. There's this Lape in the lead here. And just let us watch. That's what I'm thinking. Last place gets a free sub. Oh shit. Oh shit. I better be last place, man. Alright. Lape looking to be in the lead for now. Gets blocked for a bit, doesn't get up. He was sliding through the middle. Athena going to the left, going to the portal. That means the portal race is starting. Who is going to be able to make it into the goal? Who is going to be able to get last place? Who is going to get a gifted sub? There's only 2 non-subs. There's only 3 non-subs in here. There's only 3 non-subs in here. Hey, hey. So nobody has won yet. Nobody has won yet. You feel cold out. You are cold out. Christopher takes the jump, doesn't hit it. Some does scale it. That means 2 people are now out. V-Bond goes in the air. Goes in the air. Slow motion. Slow motion. So fucking far off. City fish. Nope. Not even gonna try. Not even gonna try. Shoot that. Bolsh? No. Harry? Monkey? No. Lape? 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 Boom, baby. Can we get yeah in the chat? Yeah. I don't know, I'm last place. Give me a sub, something member. I need to be gifted a sub. Streamer gets nothing? What the fuck, man? Fuck, bro. Chat, who's winning? Who's winning, chat? Well, I think they won. They won. They won. Who's gonna win, chat? Who's gonna win? Remember, chat, we're all losers.
No team's beatable here. No team's beatable here. No team's beatable here. No team's beatable here.
We cannot win. No teams are beatable. GG. GG. GG8. GG8. Can you just stand behind the man? Come on, man. At least you got some lit music going on. Come on, come on, come on. I just wanna get in there and see who is winning. I just don't wanna be in pulse. All things Lily. All things Lily. Thank you for the follow. What's up, beast, my man? Lazy? Dude, I'm fucking tired. I woke up at 1 today, and I've been waking up like 3 PM every day. I put an alarm on, and then I woke up, I went out in the sun, and I just laid down for another hour. And then I also been sick. Good combo, man. You wake up at 3 to 4 AM? Yeah, I wake up at PM, dude. I wake up at PM. But I've been going to bed like at 6 and 7. I almost finished Lucifer, like the TV show Lucifer. I'm at episode 7 in season 4. I have like 3 episodes left. I've been playing some TFT. I've been doing some YouTube work as well. How many subs are we on YouTube? I swear to God, we're almost 2K subs. 17 subs away. And look how many videos we have come in. Private, 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 private. Private, 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 private. I have a lot of fucking videos to come. That's a pretty funny thumbnail. Unlucky thumbnail. That's a fun thumbnail as well. Hey! This thumbnail is sick. I wanna put that on Twitter.
Welcome back to the mid-season invitational. Apologies for the delay. Update on the game situation. Game 2 has ended, and unfortunately the quarterfinals match has concluded. The composition that Renegades put together was just too potent for the Pittsburgh Knights, and the game was over in just 25 minutes. I want to apologize again for the fact that we can't bring you the game footage of what
you
just
got link protection? Wait, for what?
But joining me right now again, once again, is the best Taco, just to break down what she saw, because you got a chance to watch it. Game lasted, what, 25 minutes?
It was a blowout.
I don't know if I got that.
I had the privilege of being able to watch from the Renegades booth, funballer perspective specifically, and that Freya was just a force to be reckoned with for the Renegades. The coordination and the communications as well from Renegades, I was really personally impressed by. It just felt so clean and well coordinated. Everybody was on the same page. Call-outs were being made one at a time, and there was zero hesitation surrounding the team. A couple of instances that really stood out for me
they lost.
Was a direct quote from Funballer where he got a nice pop-off solo kill against Vote. And the whole team's, you know, obviously in high spirits after that. And the first thing Funballer says is, well, yeah, can't believe they let me have Freya.
And that's exactly what happens if you give a team Freya and Kronos, I guess.
2-0,
Knights' composition did not come to fruition, unfortunately. And that's just going to mean that Renegades march on to the semi-finals tomorrow to face off against Dignitas, who I think that's going to be a very big matchup for the finals now.
Well, it'll certainly be a big matchup in the Soul Lane as well. I was really noticing Variety's performance today. It was a strong one. And it's important that Nika made sure to follow suit. That was the last member I had to mention for that Renegades performance. Unfortunately, you guys couldn't watch it, but they literally could not kill him on Pittsburgh Knights. He was full on tanking 3 to 5 members at the same time, and there was just nothing they could do about it in the team fights.
Well, we do have 2 members of Renegades standing by right now for an interview to break down what they thought about their performance here today.
Not just 2, but 3.
Yeah, it just crashed today.
We got Raffer, we got Nika, and we got Funball.
Oh, Funball went in as well.
You guys are very excited to do this interview. Very excited to win that game. I got a chance to watch you just pop off, man. Raffer, why was this win so important?
Well, there was meant to be 2 people here, and I wasn't meant to be here. So that's pretty much expressing why I'm here, because we popped. I heard there was issues with the second game spectator, because what happened in that game wasn't legal, man. We absolutely destroyed them. And I'm happy we did, so take that, boys.
Congratulations to you guys advancing through the bracket.
I would have liked to see that game.
I wanted to ask you guys about your preparation coming into the set, because this set didn't look like anything like the last set up against Pittsburgh Knights. Talk to me about the prep.
Pretty much, like after we lost to them, we instantly knew what the problem was, and I think we were just ready for that whenever we played them again. Like we knew their style, and we kind of adapted to it. You know, Cherry on Carly was like one of the examples, for example. Like he changed his play style and he just dominated Kenneth, like in my opinion anyway. And then just double scrims, just grinding as much as we can and making sure we can bring something to this MSI, and proud of us really.
I mean,
it's better to take the 2-0 that.
Guys, like totally mentioned, a complete turnaround from the last time you played Pittsburgh. This team's kind of ramping up. You know, you guys came in hot, but you're getting even hotter here. Raffer, you know what it's like to be on a world championship team and then some. Is this that team?
It definitely is world championship caliber, but there's a few variables that can definitely topple it, which is Dada's trolling,
Blue buff going.
Funball trolling, Cherry trolling, Nico. You just remember all the team names, and that's who's trolling. Everyone except me, of course. But yeah, we can do it as long as we keep working hard and don't troll. Yep.
Thank you, guys, and congratulations once again on to the finals here. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks a lot there, boys and girls. Renegades, as you can see, in high spirits after that performance there. Shouts to Rafa for saving the day on the issues that we had here. Clearly, he just didn't want you all at home to see how brutal ever that was. Let's have a look at the bracket, though, and how things have changed throughout today. The semi-finals.
We're gonna be back tomorrow.
We'll be heading
I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can bring a guest or get like somebody to watch with me, and maybe get some casting going. I haven't asked anybody yet, but I might see if I can get one. I was supposed to do it with Chapo 2 days ago, but I think he ended up sleeping. So tomorrow, I'll make sure I'm fresh, so we actually have some energy to watch the games as well. I'm going to be uploading all these games to YouTube, so I'm going to be doing that after I stop the stream. It was fucking insane, the first couple of games. 10, bro? I don't got much 10. I got a bit of 10, I guess. Ooh. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!